So the last 3 years, you've seen it go down significantly each year. I'm comparing him a little bit to Rick Porcello.
Okay.
Rick Porcello had his ERA was 4.92, then it dropped to 4.75, then 4.59, and 4.32. That's a lot of incremental drops. Then it had a big drop down to 3.43, and the Tigers moved him for Cespedes.
Mm-hmm.
Is he kind of going in that same arc?
He
Matt
could
Boyd?
be. He could
maybe
be.
even. I'm not gonna say. Well,
Porcello was traded for Cespedes. Boyd will get traded for Austin Riley.
I don't know about that, but I'm just. My point is that there's sort of similar arcs in that you're seeing improvement every year with them, and Boyd has become a strikeout pitcher like Porcello had become later on in his Tiger career. He started to become a strikeout pitcher. There is value there, and you have to ask yourself, are you going to get proper value in return if you trade him, or do you want to hang on to him? Now, the Tigers, when they made the move, they made it to get they got something big in Cespedes. Now, they didn't really hang on to Cespedes too long before they moved him. And afterwards, Porcello goes to, he ends up winning the Cy Young with the Red Sox in 2016, his second season with the Red Sox.
And I do remember in Detroit, there was a lot of impatience. I mean, people calling up, just ripping him.
Well, and Porcello's ERA outside of that year, he's been in the 4s every year with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So now it's a little different pitching. It's different pitching in Fenway than it is pitching in Comerica for sure.
But he had ability.
Yes, he had ability, and it feels like the Tigers traded him at the right time. What are they going to do with Matt Boyd? And are they going to trade him, or are they going to hang on to him like we're going to hang on to Michael Fulmer? And Fulmer was a mistake, obviously, because of the injury thing in hindsight, or if you want to be forward thinking, like you had some information and the people talking about the delivery he's bound to get hurt because of his delivery. Boyd doesn't have those concerns about him. Boyd is just a tradable commodity right now, and he's not terribly young. I mean, he is 28 years old. He'll be 29 in February.
Yeah. Look, I'm fully aware of that people have questions about Avila, but that doesn't mean we don't talk about what he should do.
Right.
Like if you don't think, doesn't matter, Avila's in charge, okay, fine. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what should they do with him, because Avila's most likely, barring any changes, going to be the guy that's making this decision. And trading Boyd is I think, of utmost importance. Trading Shane Green is of utmost importance. Trading Nick Castellanos, a little bit less because there's a shortage of bats, and at least he's a bat. I feel like there's pitching coming.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantees with those guys, but there's no guarantees with the guys you're going to trade for. There's no guarantees in a rebuild. Like the whole break it down and build it back up. You can break it down and suck, like Randy Smith did. Oh, look, we're going to be fine. Here comes the Erie Five. Did any of those guys pan out?
No.
So, and yet, you can make a trade and get a stud back. You can, like getting a Matt Boyd, right? If they were good, Matt Boyd would be a huge commodity, but they're not, and he's kind of wasted here, and you're still in a rebuild, so keep hoarding prospects.
Isn't it all like what the Tigers did when they traded Jeff Weaver? Weaver was a decent pitcher.
Yeah.
And they got a pretty big haul in return.
Yeah. But when that was all said and done, it was kind of much ado about nothing, really.
Well, yeah, the team wasn't any good.
Yeah, but between the guys they got and the guy they gave up, it was like, mixed results on both sides.
Right, but at the time, you got a young pitcher, right? This is the Bonderman trade, and Carlos Pena, right?
Yep.
So you ended up getting a really young pitcher that I think he was only 20 at the time, Bonderman, when they traded for him, and had a lot of promise.
Remember, he was the player to be named later because he was too young to trade. He couldn't trade a guy he drafted until he was in the league for a year.
Carlos Pena showed some promise. He had a couple of pretty good years at the Tigers, and obviously he had some really good years after the Tigers let him go. And they also got Franklin Herman out of the deal. But just interesting when you go back and look at it, similar moves, what could you get?
248-539-9797. Open lines, ticket text 97136. Anyway, the Tigers are in Atlanta tonight to take on the Braves, and there have been rumblings that the Tigers and Braves have been talking. How far those talks got, who knows? One of the beliefs is that the Tigers their price tag was too high and for anything the Braves wanted to do. And I think when you go into these things, you better have a high price tag. And it's up to the Braves. Look, they're not going to probably do anything until after next week's draft when you can sign Craig Kimbrell without having to give up compensation. And that doesn't happen until after the draft. So, we'll see. But then they have to go out and they have to bid on and win Craig Kimbrell. And then they even have to see if he's effective because that's not a given either. But that is a team that has, of their 26 losses, 15 have come from ahead.